Hey guys, we're here with Jessi Cruickshank. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, I am a comedian. I started in television very young at YTV and then at MTV. A lot of people kind of grew up watching me host the Hills After Show, which was sort of I guess it was like my big break that, got picked up in the US. And
Mhm.
I have since been able to do a lot of different things on TV, primetime game shows. I had a daytime talk show. Now I have a podcast and I am in the middle of a nationwide comedy tour.
Yeah, your tour is kind of focused around the 2000s era.
Yes.
What can fans expect from it?
It is the greatest night out of I was gonna say your life. I'll say your year. I'll be modest and I'll say your year. That is what the fans have said so far. It is called the Now That's What I Call Live Tour, which was sort of based on the Now That's What I Call Music
Mhm.
CDs we all grew up listening to. It is very much a celebration of like the mid 2000s, the dirty 2000s that I feel don't get enough love, Thomas, like the Lil Jon, Flo
Yeah.
Rida, Pitbull era of the 2000s. For me, that was the time where I really feel I peaked. I was drunk 90% of the time. I was like, had like a mystic tan and a low rise jeans and a belly button ring. And I was just out dropping it in the clubs until, I would vomit on myself. That was peak for me. And so it's sort of a reflection of that time in many of our lives. And I talk about aging. I talk about coming up in this business. I
Yeah.
talk a little bit about kids. Like, it's a really funny, relatable night out. And the best part is that I encourage people to dress up in 2000s attire. So I am seeing the funniest outfits on this tour. I mean, everything from like a velour tracksuit and a trucker hat to low rise jeans to like baby doll dresses, too much jewelry, tans, bronzer, poofs. Like it is. I've never seen such attractive people look so ugly, and the honor of my lifetime that my fans, a lot of them, just come dressed to bring it.
That's so awesome. My 2000s era was more like elementary school, but I
Okay, no problem, no
I definitely
problem.
wasn't drunk, but
Oh,
it
okay.
definitely was my favorite era. Mine and my brother's conversations that we have with each other are basically just surrounded around nostalgic things that we remember from 2005.
Yes, like what? Give me an example.
Oh, it's a lot of music.
What were you into? What music were you into?
Well, we watched Much Music a lot,
Yes.
and I grew up in Nova Scotia, so on basic cable in Halifax, we didn't have MTV, but then we moved to southwestern Nova Scotia in a small town and got satellite, and we definitely
Oh.
had MTV. So like, I didn't get MTV until 2007,
Hmm.
and so that's when I started watching like the Bam Margera shows and the Jackass like TV series and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I remember watching MOD a lot, like Much on Demand on Much
Yeah.
Music,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that was always great. And I remember I also am from Newfoundland, so when the Junos were in St. John's in 2011. I don't know her last name, but Sarah, the one of the VJs from Much
Yeah.
Music,
Yeah. Yeah.
they did like MOD live on George Street, and I have a picture of me and Sarah, and I'm wearing this like green sweater with money signs all over it. It
See, that was our culture. I too grew up with Much Music and MOD and like for my tour, instead of having an opener, I have a 1 hour Much Music video dance party, all 2000s bangers. So like people come to the show, they get drinks and they get to watch the videos that we grew up like watching, on like a Friday Electric Circus night or like
that's
on
awesome.
Much on Demand. And it's so much fun. And it just sets the tone for like a nostalgic party. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's very much a part of our lives and our childhoods as Canadians.
I remember having those Much Music dance parties in elementary school, and
Oh,
they were
yes.
always the highlight, you know?
Always the highlight. And now when you look back at those videos, it is wild. It's like times have changed, okay? You
Yeah.
don't see pit bull like motorboating women in the way that you did in 2008 anymore. I mean, in a post Me Too landscape, it is something to watch these videos. But listen, I'm playing them all at the No That's What I Call Live tour.
That's fantastic. I'm planning to go.
Oh,
I think
good.
you're here in 2 weeks in Montreal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes, the 21st in Montreal.
yeah. So I'm hoping to be there. I'm hoping to come out and do some photos for you there. So
Yes.
yeah. Do you
You better
remember the
wear an
video?
outfit. Where's that hoodie? Where's that green hoodie? You
I
gotta
wish
pull something out.
I'll find something. I definitely
Okay.
have a mix of something. And there's also a Value Village like 2 blocks away from my house.
I feel like Value Village should be paying me. I have sent so many people, thousands of people from across the country to the local Value Villages to find their 2000s gear. So where's my 10% VV?
It's still the only place I shop.
Yeah, it's the greatest. Me
Yeah,
too. When
yeah.
I'm in Canada, I straight up go back to Value Village every time. The best.
So where your background is on TV, like MTV Live and the after show, was it weird transitioning to on stage comedy?
It was no, well, I'm very lucky I think that our shows were all live. So you
There.
really learn. I don't come from like take 1, take 2, take 3 kind of television. Like everything was live. And I think part of that was like budget issues in Canada. Like it was cheaper to just shoot things and put them directly on the air, and so that's how
Yeah.
we would do it. So that really taught me like how to do anything live. And then I hosted the Junos many years. I hosted the Canadian Country Music Awards. And when you
Awesome.
can do comedy and like write a monologue about Canadian country music artists in a stadium in Saskatchewan, you're like, I could probably do this for my fans in, a beautiful theater in Montreal. So that was sort of when I realized that like I could do live comedy for my audience, that after I
Mhm.
had sort of done it for these other audiences for so many years. And I also started an improv. Like I was on an improv troupe with Seth Rogen and Nathan
Uh,
Fielder growing up. So those guys, like we all started kind of having to be on our toes all the time. And a big part of my live show is improvised. So much of it is like with people in the audience. Every show is different. And I think that's what that's my superpower really, is just like the training in improv and live television.
that's awesome. Well, one of my best friends, he's been doing improv for as long as like all through school basically, and now he teaches improv. And I believe like every year that he was in it in high school, and then now that he
Uh-huh.
teaches it, he's brought them to nationals in Ottawa.
Yes, I competed at nationals in
Yeah,
Ottawa.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
It's such a nerdy thing. Is it still happening?
Yeah. I think they went last year. Like, I don't know what time of the year it happens, but I'm assuming it's still going on.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me tell you, in my high school, I was on a team with Seth, with Nathan. I was the only girl. It was like 7 boys and me. We won the British Columbia championships, and our comedy was like real, very, if you think about Seth and sort of how he changed comedy, like you started with, it was like we were very much in a Jim Carrey, Leslie Nielsen sort of slapsticky Mike Myers world. And then Seth came in with the Judd Apatow. It was like more cerebral. It was less like wacky physical comedy. That's what our shit was in, excuse me. That's what our
You
like,
can swear.
okay, I just
Yeah.
did. That's what we were doing in high school. It was like, Seth wasn't like doing a human pyramid. We were like making very smart jokes about the Bible. And when we got to Ottawa, we were feeling so confident. We were the best in our province. We got to Ottawa. People were literally doing human pyramids. They were doing full tilt musicals. And our little, like, smart, funny jokes about the Bible did not go over well. And I think we placed second to last in the nationals. So we did not do well on the national stage, but we were heroes in BC for like a hot minute.
That's awesome. And you grew up
Mhm.
in Vancouver, yeah?
Yeah.
I've lived in Tofino, BC, 4 separate
Oh.
times. I used to
It's
move
the
between
best.
Jasper and Tofino every year for 6 years, just back and forth a couple times a year.
What a fabulous life. Like
It
two
was
of the
good.
best
It was
places.
good. This is me settled down.
Yeah. Not a bad place to be settled down, gotta
No, it
say.
was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Montreal is good too. I
Yes.
could learn French and that would help even more, but
You
um
do not know French.
not the ça va bien, tabarnak.
Oh my gosh. And you live there.
My girlfriend's from Quebec, so like that's kind of why I ended up here.
Okay,
But
got
also
it.
I'm a concert photographer and this is like one of the best cities in Canada to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the theater that I'm playing is like very beautiful, the Théâtre Beanfield. So I think
Yeah.
the photos are going to be unreal. I like grew up in French immersion, so I have this idea that I can speak French because I could literally 20 years ago as a small child.
Yeah.
And so I took my American husband to Montreal to like A, show him this beautiful part of Canada,
Mhm.
but B, show off how amazingly multicultural and well educated I am. And literally the first, like at the airport cafe, I was like, ah, bonjour, je veux avoir. And the woman was like, what do you need? I speak English. And like everywhere we went, immediately people would just start talking English to me. And at a certain point, my husband said, like, you don't actually speak French. You realize you are not fluent in French. And that was a hard moment for me. So I've come to the realization that my French is it's spotty at best. Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned like word, not phrases or sentences, but yeah, I go off what I learned in junior high, which is how to go to the washroom and how to say seal in French because it sounds like fuck.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
unifuck. Oh,
yeah,
what you just that is what a flashback. That was like the greatest thing as a child. Unifuck. How
yeah,
funny is that? Oh
yeah,
my god.
exactly.
Okay, see, I feel if I just took like a Duolingo class, I could probably remember all the unifucks of it all.
I got into a Duolingo a little bit and
Okay.
I kind of got lazy with it. So now
Yeah.
it's just my girlfriend telling me, do your Duolingo. And
Mm.
I still haven't done it.
Well, listen to her. Do your Duolingo, okay? Do it.
Um, if do you think if you could go back to your life in 2005, what
Mm.
would you tell your younger self?
Oh, wow. I think I would probably say like so I would say like it's going to happen. You're going to do this. Because I think in 2005, that's when I was walking around giving resumes and pictures to Much Music, to every television station. Like I had this, I don't know why, because I grew up in Vancouver. I had this like crazy belief that I wanted to be a Much Music VJ, right? Like I grew
Yeah,
up watching them. That's what I wanted to do. And I think 2005 was when I was like really pounding the pavement. And not only did I get turned away, I got no replies. Like no one wrote me back, period. And then it was in 2006 that MTV launched in Canada and had a national search for hosts. And
yeah,
that was the year that I got that job. And I have been working in this business successfully ever since. So I think I would tell myself, like, keep pounding the pavement because it's going to happen for you.
that's great. I
Yeah.
like never give up is
Yeah.
the best way to do it, I guess. Even if you
Yeah.
feel kind of down on yourself sometimes.
Oh God, all the time, of course. Like never getting replies. And also at that time, I think I never saw anyone like me doing that job. Much Music VJs were far more polished. Women were like blonde and hot and like cool and talking about cool music. And I was not that. I was like a flaming redhead who really liked the Backstreet Boys and like was funny and not cool. And I never thought that I would have an opportunity to do what I have been able to do. So, God, it makes me emotional just thinking of it. Yeah, I would like look at that little girl dropping her picture off and say like keep doing it cuz someone's going to see something in you and then you are going to take that opportunity and keep it moving for 20 years.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I know. I know.
So speaking of 2000s nostalgic things, I'm a huge Degrassi, The Next Generation fan.
Wow.
And I know that you are on, I think it was the TV movie, right?
I was in the TV movie,
I
correct?
was
Yes.
working on set, and I also did notice the little Drake loophole that you said because he on the
Yes.
show.
Yes. Oh my gosh. What a, so you were working on set? You were a
No, no, no,
fan?
no, no, no. I'm just a fan.
Okay, okay,
I
okay,
was
okay, okay.
probably 12 when that came out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was so fun. I got to be in a Degrassi movie. I got to play like a I believe I was playing like a bitchy TV host.
Yeah.
And that was one of those things where like I did it and I didn't really think of it. And now people still like you, Thomas, come up to me and they're like, the Degrassi movie. I'm like, oh yeah. It
Yeah.
was such a thing. It was such a what a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a big show. I mean, I
It was
think
a
it
big
still
show.
is. I
Yeah.
don't really like, I don't even have cable. Like, I mean, I don't think a lot of people have cable anymore.
No,
But
nor do I.
like they're on a whole new generation of it now too.
I had no idea.
And it was on the Disney Channel for a long time. I think it's called Degrassi: The Next Class, and it would come on like I don't know what it is in BC, but like Channel 43 was the family channel for us. And I remember
Wow.
seeing it like maybe a few years ago when I was at my dad's house.
Oh
But
my
it's like
God.
completely modern now. It has like everything that you would think would be in it is in it. The problems, the cell phones, social media, stuff like that.
That's satisfying. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. There's so much now that that Degrassi could tackle.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that I legitimately had this is like a so when I don't know if you remember this, but the in on the hills, one of the big characters was Heidi Montag.
Yeah.
Heidi Montag famously got 10 plastic surgeries at one time.
Oh,
And this was when I was hosting the Hills After Show, and this was like the biggest story in culture. So for our Halloween episode on Halloween, I dressed up as post op Heidi Montag, which is very insensitive. Now you could never do that. But I had like scars. I had like these giant fake boobs with like scars and scars on my nose. I was and on that episode, we happened to have Drake on to promote Degrassi. So the only photos that I have met Drake several times since I've known him for a long time, but the
mhm.
only photos I have of myself and Drake are me with like fake plastic surgery scars and a blonde wig and him promoting Degrassi. What a time.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, what's one thing that's not asked enough during interviews?
Of me?
In general, like in any interview, what's one question that's not asked enough to you? Yeah, to you.
Well, I would say this, like I think that so I spent a lot of time doing I was on eTalk or on MTV
Yeah.
like interviewing celebrities. And my whole thing was like let's ask these celebrities people that we care about. Questions that we care about. Like I don't actually care about the making of your movie. I really don't. I don't really care about your process. I
Yeah.
don't. I care about like if you're like I remember interviewing Chris Evans for some Avengers movie and I truly do not care about your Avengers movie. I just wanted to like tell him how hot I thought he was. And that brought out a more human side of him or like
Yeah.
play a game with somebody. Like my goal, my objective was always to show a different side of these people. And I think that came out of being an interviewer in Canada, where when somebody comes to Canada, they go on all the shows all at once.
Yeah.
So you're going to see this person being asked the same question every single place they go. And so my mantra was always like, let's show the Canadian audience a completely different side of this celebrity by not asking those boring questions.
Yeah.
So that would say like my do not ask is like you usually have to ask about the project or whatever. And so like do your thing, ask one question, but like no one really cares about that. I find it's kind of self-indulgent for an interviewer to really ask an actor about their process on a show that is an entertainment show.
Yeah.
I would always encourage you to like find a unique way to get a more human side or a story out of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's
Yeah.
hear something that they've never shared before. Um, yeah. So, like, deeply inappropriate personal
Yeah.
questions. That's what I think people should be asked more of. For
That's
real.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So, speaking of personal questions, your mom was the host of CBC's Alive, the Picture of Health.
Damn, yes, you did your research.
Is this kind of where your inspiration to be on TV was, or it came from?
Yes. Yes. 100%. And I will just put this on the record. I am not a Nepo baby. My mother did not help me in any way open any doors. She was long off the air by the time I decided this was what I wanted to do. But it normalized being on television as a career path.
Yeah,
Like I grew up in Vancouver. It's not like, most people's parents had regular jobs. Nobody was on television. But my mom was, and she was a working parent at the time when a lot of my friends had like stay at home moms. My mom was always working, always traveling. And not only did she make me think about being on television as a
yeah,
potential career path for myself, but she gave me an example of a working mom and a hard working mom. Like my mom was raising the money for her show and producing her show. And like,
wow.
that's what it means to be on Canadian television. You have to work your ass off. And so I had a model for that. And when I had my own kids, I that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be just like my mom. I wanted to be, a role model for them, showing
Yeah.
them how hard I work and continuing to push my career forward. So yeah, I'm so grateful to her.
Do you find it hard to balance the mom tour work life?
Yes, but Thomas, that's a question that I would say you should never ask in an interview to a woman because I don't know that you would ask that to a man, right? Like, if I was like a rock star, would
Or
you ask me that?
more so, like family tour life balance, not
Yeah, yeah,
necessarily being a mother, but like
yeah,
having a family. Like, is it hard being away from your kids?
yeah. No.
And like, do you video chat every day, like after your show and tell them about your show?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked this. I do not, my kids do not care about my show, which is really good. It's very humbling to
Yeah.
like do a sold out show for thousands of people, come off stage and you're like, it's bedtime and they just want to talk about their Pokemon card and they have no interest in what I just did. So yeah, it's, I have kind of stopped feeling guilty. I feel sad that I'm missing certain things. I'm
Yeah.
missing performances or I'm missing my daughter's birthday. Like I feel sad,
Mhm.
but I've tried to reframe it and not think of it as guilt because what I'm doing is ultimately making me a really great mom, a better mom, and a really good role model to them. I think in
Yeah, I
working
agree.
hard and so I will give you this hot tip. They are coming to one of my East Coast shows, and they just asked me last night if they could come on the stage with me. And I'm like, oh no, you cannot watch the whole show, but there might be a little performance at the beginning of my show by my three children. So TBD, if you come to one of the East Coast shows, you might get a little bonus
Okay, good to
surprise.
know.
Yes, yes. It really is like an anything could happen kind of show, especially when you let three small children on the stage. But even I guarantee you they'll do that and there will be lots of screaming cheers and they'll still be like, read me this book, mom. We do not care. So that's a nice thing about being a parent in entertainment.
True.
None of it matters at the end of the day, you know?
That's fantastic. Um, but basically, this would be the last question. What's your best piece of advice to give to new people in the industry?
Great question. I think you know what? It might have shifted now because now everybody understands that you have to start your own thing and there are avenues to start your own thing, right? But
Mhm.
I would say like nobody, you know, when I was coming up, you would hear all these stories of like this Much Music VJ got discovered in a restaurant. This star Jennifer Lawrence was stopped in Times Square. Like you have this idea that success is going to come to you. If you're really talented, someone is going to see you. Someone's going to see you on
Yeah,
YouTube. They're going to see your show and they're going to give you everything you've dreamed of. That is not going to happen for 99.999% of people. It's just not how the industry works anymore.
yeah,
You have to want it badly enough and believe in yourself strongly enough to do the work yourself. And continue to put yourself out there and continue to make stuff and find an audience and grow that audience. Like, you gotta want it so badly, I think now. And you have to work your ass off. Like, that's it. Nobody is going to hand you anything. You have to go out and take it.
Yeah, it's a dog eat dog world.
Yeah, and I don't want that to feel negative. Like, I think there's so many ways to do that now.
Yeah, 100%.
But you just have to be ready and willing to do that work and like be realistic about what opportunities will come to you as opposed to what opportunities you can create for yourself.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm. And I also believe that everything will lead to something else. Like, my hosting those, oh God, I did so many like corporate award shows and industry award shows, and I would put so much into them thinking like, what is the point of all this? Well, those led to me getting my own tours with Live Nation because someone from Live Nation saw me do that thing. So it's like every single thing you say yes to can and probably will lead to the next thing.
That's really good advice.
This conversation we're having right now will lead to something else. I guarantee it.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think Zoom will cut us off at 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was really great talking to you. I really appreciate it.
You too.
I hope to see you. You said the 21st?
Yeah, the 21st at the Teatro Beanfield. I would love for you to be there. You were obviously on my list. And if we're going to do photos and stuff, let's figure it out. I would love that.
Yeah. I can email your people. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Sounds great.
Please do. Oh, that's so cool. I want to see your work too. Where do I find your stuff?
Thomas Murray Photography on Instagram.
So cool. Okay, finding you right now. Thanks, Thomas.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
That was really fun. Thank you for your thoughtful and research questions. I so appreciate it.
Of course. Have a good one.
Okay, you too. Bye.